Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial. Confidently controversial.
Hi, everybody.
Hello! Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up.
Right. That's right. Welcome to Confidently Controversial. I'm Emily Paul.
And I am Kim Tweed.
Man, you're feeling it today.
I literally woke up like a half an hour ago. Yeah. Have a little coffee in me.
It's good. This is perfect. This is prime Kim Tweed time.
Prime Tweed.
Prime Kim Tweed time. So welcome to the show. As some of you may or may not know, this is Confidently Controversial, where we watch things we used to watch when we were younger, and we kind of just look at them through the eyes of an adult.
An old lady adult.
Now, what would an old lady think about this movie? Yeah, it's been fun.
We were at a party yesterday, and my mom was there, and I could hear her telling someone across the room, "My oldest daughter is 45." And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like,
why don't you say how old you are?
Right. Why don't you tell people how old you are, old lady? Yeah, so I was real distressed about that, because I'm just like, is it a topic of conversation?
Well, yeah, I guess, I don't know, because I feel like my parents, my sister is 49, so I feel like that's a big mile marker for my parents, who are just like, our daughter
they
is
probably 49. Use it kind of like, they're just like, look how young I look, can you believe it?
I don't think my parents
that hag over there is my daughter.
Okay, first of all, hag.
I don't know.
Okay, we have an event in our lives called the Night of the Hag, where someone called us a hag when we were like, what were we, like
25 maybe?
No, a little, maybe like 28. So like
okay.
And it lives in infamy as the Night of the Hag when you know,
we were feeling ourselves, we were partying, we were having a great night, and someone basically was just like, knock it off, you old hags.
And we're like, yeah, we are 28. We are definitely hags.
Really need to pack it in.
Oh, my gosh. Well, yeah, so here we are. What happened with your power last night?
Oh, God, I don't know what's going on in this town, but I came home after a long day out, walked in the door, basically, and the power went out. And it didn't last too long. But my husband hates the heat, and he gets a little panic attacky when it's going to be hot. So it usually just turns into me trying to like calm everything down and be like, it's going to be okay. We'll be cool enough, I promise. So then, but then it came back on. I don't know what's going on. I think eventually we're just going to lose power and have to live off the grid for all the rest of time.
Well, that's great. So I would, if I were you, I would get like a cow now and maybe start planning some things so you can survive.
I probably should. I saw something, in my Facebook feed, something was being advertised to me about how to prepare for the future. And it was like, start planting vegetables,
Oh, gosh. I'm having anxiety just hearing the fact that that's an advertisement.
I don't know if it's an advertisement or if it's like a Facebook group or something like that. Facebook doesn't understand me.
The algorithm hasn't figured you out yet?
No, they haven't figured me out. I think because I did social media work for so long, and I was always putting in like lots of diseases and holidays and illnesses and things like that. It was just like, what the fuck is going on with this girl?
She's like, is she a prepper?
Right, or is she a hypochondriac? Like, what's happening here? But then it just feeds me random stuff. And then sometimes I have to be like, no. Like, I literally have to be like, no, I don't want to see stuff like this anymore. And I tell it.
You tell it.
Tell it to go away. Because as you know, I have to block out things that upset me.
Right, yeah, you definitely block. I am the opposite of that.
Yes,
where I have to kind of like, I always think of it like when you have a boo-boo and you kind of keep like pressing it to see like, does this still hurt? Does this still hurt? And I feel like that's how it is with me in social media, where I have to look at the things that upset me.
Right.
Because if I don't, it's like hypervigilant. If I'm not watching it and paying attention to it, then I won't know what it's doing. So I can't.
You're preparing. They can't sneak attack you.
Right. So, like, if there's people out there who are, you know, talking about kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like it's good for me to pay attention to stuff, even if it upsets me. That I'm like that with social media, but I'm not like that with the news. With the news, I'm more like, oh, I don't want to pay attention to things that are upsetting to me.
See, with social media for me, like, I have unfollowed so many people who just like one time were just like, this is what I think, and I was like, well, I don't think that, goodbye. And, yeah, I don't know, I just can't, and I feel like I have to get it out of my face.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know,
Like, it's just going to bother you too much to know, or you don't want to hear it?
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know that other people think that way. It just upsets me too much. Like, I get too upset about the fact that people are different. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
I'm kidding.
What did these 80s movies do to you?
No. I don't know. I just don't like to see it or hear it. It just upsets me too much. So I send it away.
Okay.
I'm on social media for a good time.
Well, that's how I feel with movies, bringing it back, is, and I was just talking to someone about this recently about horror movies, and I used to really enjoy watching a horror movie. You know, not that I'm somebody who's like way into being scared, but I do think that there are some horror movies out there that are really great films, you know, so I'm interested in seeing them. And there's still that part of me that wants to see them, but I know that I can't now. Like, there was I think it was like after I had kids, I kind of was like, you know what? I can't watch that stuff anymore. I have to stay.
Because
I have to keep it
you don't want
paused.
to feel the way you feel when you watch it, and I think that's for me. I don't want to feel the way I feel when I see stuff like that, so I get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing. I mean,
I'm like that
there's no
Shaquille
judgment.
O'Neal meme. I'm like, negativity, boom. what else does he say? You know, pushing it all the way for me.
Yeah, I think that's. I get it. I'm not judging that at all. Like, I get it. Like, it's, and the way that stuff is now, it's easy to just to do that, to say like, hey, I'm not going to pay attention to those things.
And I understand the importance of, you know, hearing things from both sides and things like that. I do understand that. I just, you know, it's a self-preservation thing, I think, most of all.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that you, by any means, bury your head in the sand or anything like that. But I mean, if you're on social media and you're just like, dude, I just want to watch candy videos of candy being made, and I want to watch, you know, slime, and I want to watch
hydraulic presses crushing things. I like to watch those.
Those are good ones.
You know what I don't want to see any more of? Things that might be cake or might not be cake.
No, I don't like that.
I'm done with that. God damn it.
I do like watching a cake being decorated.
Yeah, I like that. I like to watch, like, when they ice the cookies. I enjoy that. Good. But none of that bullshit where they're just like, is it a book or is it a cake? And they're like,
there's a whole show about that on Netflix.
It. Don't like it.
I know. I don't like it. I don't like it either. Okay. But we're in a good... So everyone, as you can all see, we're in a really good place this morning. And let's go.
Okay.
It's Kim's pick, which is always the best for me because I don't have to do any work before this. I just come here and bring my best self.
It is my pick today. And I'm excited about this movie because I don't think I've ever seen this movie.
You haven't seen this movie. You're picking a movie that you haven't seen.
Yes, but I'm picking it for a very specific reason.
Okay.
In that, when we were younger, MTV was a really big deal, right?
Absolutely.
And we watched those music videos over and over and over again. And this music video is one thing that they did a lot was, like, if there was a song in a movie, sometimes the music video would have clips of the movie in it.
Absolutely, yes. I always think of the Cyndi Lauper one for Goonies.
Sure. So
quintessential.
Yeah, and it happened a lot. And I feel like, you know, I've said before, we weren't really big, huge TV people in my family, but one thing we would do, my mom would always have on, like, the top 20 countdowns on the weekend on MTV.
Mom?
On MTV.
Okay.
Yeah, like, and we would watch. Remember they used to do, like...
all the time we watched that stuff. I mean, in our house, when we got MTV, and I feel like it was mid-'80s when we got it, because I remember, like, Live Aid, when that happened, like, we knew all those bands that were there, and that was, like, 84, 85, and loved it. And I feel like me and my sister and my brother just that's all we watched and over again.
So you would like get to know these music videos really well, and then like especially they would be on all day, like on and off all day, and then they would do the countdown, and I feel like we always cleaned to the countdown. Like I think that's how my mom got us to clean the house. Is like we always had the countdown on, and I remember like eventually it turned into like the 5-disc CD changer. When we would clean to the...
We had record. My parents would play their records while we cleaned.
Yeah, so this video I really remember a lot because I feel like it was just like, oh, this is so cool, and I'm very intrigued by this video and very intrigued by this movie, but I never saw it, and I think it's because it came out in 1985.
Okay.
So I was only 8 years old.
Okay.
It's rated PG-13.
Wow, they rated things that existed in the mid-'80s?
That's what I read. Read that it was
okay. I don't doubt you.
Okay. And this is the first movie for a very famous musician.
Okay. The first movie?
Yes, the first movie for this very famous musician. And I don't really know that I can bury this much longer about what this is. So I'm going to tell you what the video was.
Okay.
The video was Into the Groove.
I know this movie, and I watched this movie so much.
You did?
So much.
Okay. So, the movie is?
It's Susan. Desperately Seeking Susan.
Yes. So, you remember the video where she, like, in, like, eyeliner, she, like, with the heart, and she circles.
I remember everything about this video.
Yes. Okay. So, this is Madonna's first movie.
Yes, this is peak Madonna, too.
So this is peak Madonna. However, when the filming of this movie started, she really wasn't that famous yet.
Okay.
So she had released one album, self-titled, called Madonna, that had the song Holiday on it.
Great song. Holiday!
Yes. Good job.
Celebrate!
And, so Madonna had released that album in November so this film came out in March of 1985. In November of 1984, while they were still filming this movie, Like a Virgin album came out.
So then she got super famous.
She got super, super famous while they were filming this movie. Like, they started filming the movie, no one cared about Madonna.
Sure. Like, shut up, Madonna.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Just shut up. What are you trying to be?
Did they hire her because she was a singer, or they hired her just because she had a little look that they liked?
Yeah, so I'll bump back to that in 1 second. So Like a Virgin came out in November. All of a sudden, the set was like mobbed. They needed security for Madonna. It just like changed like really overnight.
That's
like
crazy.
she became super famous overnight because Like a Virgin was a #1 album. She was the first female artist to have an album that sold over 5 million copies in the United States. And that album ultimately sold over 21 million copies worldwide.
Wow.
So it was a big deal.
It was. It was. Madonna was huge. Oh my gosh! Like the style that was impacted by her, everything when we were younger.
Yeah,
like, so much was Madonna.
And so I guess they. So this movie I read was kind of revolutionary at the time because you have 2 female leads. You have Madonna and Rosanna Arquette.
Yeah, you do.
You also have a female writer and a female director and a female producer.
Wow, never
which
knew
is
that.
a really big deal for 1985.
Sure.
It was hard to cast the male role because it was 2 female leads. Because a lot of people at that time were just like,
and it wasn't a super famous guy, right? I remember
he's Aidan Quinn.
Oh, I was gonna say I remember he was cute.
Yeah, very.
That's
cute.
Aidan Quinn.
Yeah. So I think the writer of the movie knew Madonna because Madonna was basically like a New York club kid. She hung out on the streets of New York. She was famous in that way. She was well known in New York City for her style,
sure,
and everything like that. So this person really fought hard to have Madonna in the movie.
Okay.
Madonna auditioned, like 200 other people auditioned for the role of Susan, and some of them were Ellen Barkin.
Oh, okay.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, Melanie Griffith, Kelly McGillis, Suzanne Vega.
Suzanne Vega?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was actually a version of this movie where Susan was like this old hippie, and it was going to be Diane Keaton. And Roberta, who is the Rosanna Arquette character, was going to be Goldie Hawn.
Okay.
But ultimately, it went to Madonna. And Madonna at the time was really trying hard to break into the movies. Like, she really wanted to be a movie star.
Sure.
She was, in like the early 80s, she was constantly looking for film roles. I read something about her that was basically like, she was like, I'll do anything to be in a movie.
Oh, really? Like anything?
Well, I don't know, but she auditioned for a movie called The First Turn On, which they described as a TNA film.
Okay.
And she didn't get the part.
Oh.
But with this when this movie came out, she got rave reviews for her acting, and then obviously she went on to act in quite a few other movies. It wasn't her main career.
Didn't she win something? Like, what was her big role? Evita was a big role for her.
Yeah,
but
and
wasn't there something else where she was like critically acclaimed for?
I don't know. She won a Golden Globe for Evita.
Okay.
She's won 7 Grammys. She's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She was nominated for an Oscar.
For Evita?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's never won an Oscar. So obviously, she's gone on to become Madonna.
Sure.
I mean, what can you say about Madonna?
What can you say about Madonna? I mean, I feel like Madonna, like when I think back to that time with Madonna, and I remember this, I mean, you've never seen this movie?
No.
Okay. It's a really great movie.
I've heard it's great.
Yeah. I don't know that I watched it a lot when I was super young, but I definitely watched it. I don't know that I watched it when it first came out. I know that, I don't think my parents liked Madonna very much. So I feel like that impacted.
I think Madonna was made for parents not to like.
I think so.
I mean, her big hit was Like a Virgin. Like, you don't want your kids singing that.
No, that would be awkward. No, I don't think so. But I mean, I remember loving her videos. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I remember so when I grew up, I lived on this dead end street that my friends lived 2 houses down, and they had swings in their backyard, and I remember swinging on their swings and singing the songs and everything like that. She was, she had a big impact, obviously. Now, Into the Groove was actually not even on the soundtrack for
Desperately Seeking
Susan. It was something that Madonna was just I guess, I don't know how it became associated with it. She wrote it for someone else, but then decided to sing it. She later released the song on a reissue of the Like a Virgin soundtrack. It wasn't even on the original Like a Virgin soundtrack. It later got reissued.
Was it part of this movie? Is it?
I don't know. I don't know that it's in the movie. We'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. I don't remember.
But the video was fully scenes from the movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember. Yeah, I remember very clearly. And it was definitely a very cool thing. And I just remember when Madonna exploding, because it was definitely all over MTV. She was all over MTV.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
yeah, in a big way. And I just remember
that iconic performance at the MTV Music Awards. Remember?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I mean, she's just. I don't know that people today, because Madonna has definitely taken a turn for the weird. I don't know. I mean, I think, that with the stuff that she puts out there, I don't. She's always been tried to be very artistic with what she does, and she's always been very smart about the choices she made. I remember taking a class in college where they went through her video for, oh my gosh, what's the one where Open Your Heart to Me? Do you remember the video for that? Yeah. And this teacher went through and was she's taking from this old actress here. This is a reference to this thing. And it was very interesting to see that stuff that we watched where you're just oh, it's a Madonna video. There was so much other artistic levels to it, what she was doing, which was interesting to me.
Well, and I just think, her career, Like a Virgin, obviously incredible second album, but then she went on to continuously reinvent herself and continuously stay relevant. I mean, she's not very relevant today, but I did read that she's going on tour again for the 40th anniversary of Holiday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she had to actually postpone that concert because she was recently hospitalized She was in the ICU for a bacterial infection.
Oh, I saw that. It was a big deal.
Yeah. So, and then Madonna was also just part of she dated so many people. She was married to Sean Penn, who was a huge 80s actor.
Absolutely.
She dated people like Vanilla Ice. It was rumored that she
Vanilla Ice?
Yeah. It was rumored that she dated Michael Jackson. Tupac, Dennis Rodman, Warren Beatty. You remember she sang a song in
she was dating him when she
Dick
made
Tracy.
that. Yes, and she was in Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
And she remember that documentary she made that was like a big deal?
Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
Warren Beatty was in that documentary because she was dating him at that time.
Mm-hmm. She may have dated JFK Jr., A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. He's like a baseball player.
Sure.
She was married to Sean Penn. He's like a baseball player. She was married to Sean Penn from 1985 to 1989.
I've heard things where they've said that that's the one for her still.
Yeah.
And they're still friends and they still talk to each other. And that's all. He's always been like the one. But she married Guy Ritchie.
And they were married for actually 8 years.
And that's when she started to have a British accent.
Yes, a little bit. She's 65 right now. She's afraid of thunder and lightning.
Well, okay, get it.
And she has 6 children.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, but I think
she adopted.
She adopted a lot of children.
I think 4 of them because she has the 2 with Guy. Well, no, she had 1 with Guy Ritchie, and then she had 1 with that
dancer guy, right?
I don't know what he was, but yeah, she had another. She had her eldest is with somebody else. Okay. But yeah, she was huge tabloid fodder. Like, I just feel like our entire childhood was seeing Madonna, paying attention to Madonna, and what was Madonna doing, and oh my God, Madonna!
Right.
Yeah.
So this movie, like I said, came out in the spring of 1985, March of 1985. They actually put it through like a really quick turnaround process to do the editing because, like I said, like a version came out in November, and they really wanted to capitalize on Madonna's fame. So they were like, quickly get it out because they didn't think she would be famous anymore for very long.
Flash in the pan. She might be a flash in the pan, but capitalize on those.
And the tagline for this movie is, "A life so outrageous it takes 2 people to live it." And like I said, it does star Rosanna Arquette, and her name is Roberta in the film. She was actually nominated for a Golden Globe for this movie. Madonna was 26 years old when she filmed this movie. Aidan Quinn is also in it. Laurie Metcalf.
Wow, okay.
Is in this movie. Mark Blum plays like a key role in the movie. I think he's someone's husband. He actually died from COVID complications in March of 2020.
Oh, no.
This is one of John Turturro's first movies.
Okay.
And Stephen Wright is also in this movie.
It's funny. I'll be very interested to see it because I have not seen it in a very, very long time. And the things that I think about it are that it looks very cool. Like, I feel like I love this. The thing I'm excited to see with this is the style.
Yes.
Because I feel like it's going to be very quintessential that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure. I think that she brought a lot of her style to the movie.
I feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah. But that's her style. That's
that's, you'll see in the movie. Like, it's a big part of it is her.
I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah.
It made $16 million at the box office, so it did well at the box office.
I'm very surprised to learn that it wasn't made after she was famous. Like, that's a really interesting thing to me.
Her.
Yeah, because I feel like at the time it was like, because from our point of view, it was timed.
It was a Madonna movie.
It was a Madonna movie because it was after she was super famous. So,
well, that's the thing too. And I think you look at these things, like even the movies that came later, you just assume that they're Madonna vehicles. Or, I don't know, you think that all of this stuff is created for people, but obviously there's a process that people have to go through to get into this stuff.
Anybody could be famous. It's a process. You got to work for it, Kim, no matter who you are. And as we all know, Madonna, hardest working woman in pop music, for sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely one of them, and certainly an icon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, are you excited?
I'm very excited.
I'm excited too. I really have never seen it. Like I said, I've just seen clips of it from the music video. So
no, I've definitely seen this movie, and but I'm excited to watch it.
All right,
so let's do it.
Good night.
What was that?
Confidently controversial. All right, guys. guys, we're really excited because we have to tell you about
Blue Wire Media.
Woo!
Blue Wire is an award-winning, full-service marketing agency and production company that helps businesses succeed. How did they do that, Kim?
How?
They do that with videos, photos, websites, social media production stuff. They do consulting, design. These guys are full service for all of your marketing needs.
Yes, and I can tell you personally, firsthand, that I have worked with Mr. Steven Aceto, who is the owner, operator, business creator, extraordinaire.
All of those things.
Of Blue Wire Media. And he's just one of my favorite people to work with because he's a really creative person. And he's always taken every project that we've worked on to the next level. So go check out Blue Wire Media at bluewiremedia.com/cc and learn more about all the great things that Blue Wire can do for you. Do it.
Confidently controversial.
And here we are.
And we're back.
All right, I'm going to say this.
Go for it.
Okay.
Say it.
I feel like, because we just watched the music video after watching the movie, and I feel like you could just watch the video.
Yeah. We're done. Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Talk to you next week.
I didn't realize how much the music video had of the movie in it.
Yeah.
And it definitely makes it seem like it's a movie that's made with a lot of great stuff in it. And
Well, it makes you think the movie's good.
It makes you think the movie is
And it's
good.
not good.
No.
Not very good at all.
It was not very good. I know. I was thinking about while we were watching it, you had said that they rushed the editing. And
You can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah.
They probably should have taken more time.
Well, yes, but was that in editing that there was a problem, or was it the plot and the script and the storyline? I mean,
Yes.
it was all very,
Yeah, and I also feel like it's pretty clear that Madonna was not the main part of that movie. Like her character is a part. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. Let's talk about it.
Sure. Do you want to you want to talk about what it was about?
Sure. I think I can do a very brief overview of this one.
Okay.
So you have Roberta, who's Rosanna Arquette, who is like housewife in the suburbs of New Jersey. She's I don't know if bored is the major attribute, but she kind of gets fascinated by this classified ads where she's following along with this like love story kind of where Susan and her boyfriend kind of keep in touch with each other through the classified. So desperately seeking Susan, and they'll put different messages back and forth to each other. And she's like traveled all over the world. The Susan character, it seems. So it seems like it's been like this, almost like a love story that she's followed along with.
Yeah, but Susan's like a grifter. Like she's like a.
Yeah, she's not a good person.
Right. She's a thief.
She's a thief. She's like, it's not like she's just in love with this guy. I mean, she's got other boyfriends. They kind of show in the beginning she's in Atlantic City with some guy that she's just, obviously stealing from. And
we assume that they mean nothing, and Jim is her true boyfriend.
Jim is the one.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. So, the bored housewife woman, Roberta, sees one of these things that's like, oh, meet me in New York and we'll, whatever. Desperately seeking Susan. I'll be in Battery Park on this day and time. Come meet me. So, like, Roberta's thinking like, oh, I want to do that. I want to follow. So, like, she goes there too, and then she kind of stalks her a bit, buys a jacket. And
because Madonna owned it. Well, because Susan owned it.
Susan owned it and the jacket. But, like, you come to find out early in the movie that Madonna stole. She didn't know they were these, like, relic earrings.
Yeah, which is just weird, too.
Yeah, so,
it's an Egyptian artifact.
Right. So, I mean, I think at the end, it's like there's amnesia that's involved, and Roberta thinks she's Susan for a bit, so kind of like is able to take on her life for a while and see how the other half lives, I guess. And then it's so all over the place, the plot. It's really hard to describe it, but I would say it's kind of like there's this ongoing thing of these people who are after Susan to get these earrings back, and because you have real Susan and you have Roberta Susan, that it gets a little bit confused, and Aidan Quinn's in the middle of it all, just being hot.
Oh boy, is he?
Yeah, young Aidan Quinn. Everybody, check
Those
him.
eyes, my goodness.
Yeah, he was definitely a highlight of this film. So I don't even think I did a good job of explaining it, but I don't even know how much more you could explain with it.
Well, it's one of those things too, and there's this, like, I feel like this was a trope that was often used in things, was where someone hits their head and they forget.
Right. Okay.
And then they hit their head again and they remember.
Okay. I did a lot of research about amnesia during
Okay, good.
while we were watching this, because I think that it's seen in a lot of things.
Right.
Where someone hits their head and they just forget everything about their life, and then all of a sudden they get bonked again and it comes back, or like something.
That can't be real.
It's not. It's
Okay,
not.
good.
So amnesia, just in general, because honestly, if you watch movies from the 80s, I don't know if they still do it now.
I don't know.
They
I
did
feel
it in,
I
like,
just watched
TV.
I just watched something recently where the person has amnesia, but it's like just of the last 2 years of their life, so they forget like a specific person, which I don't know. Amnesia doesn't come up as much as you thought it was going to.
It's like quicksand.
Right. Exactly.
Neither of these things impact our lives at all.
Yeah.
But so amnesia in the general population has an incidence rate of like 5 to 10 people per 100,000.
Okay.
In the older population, like 55 plus, it's like 23 to 30, rate of like 23 to 32 per 100,000.
Do they still call it amnesia when it's that?
Yes, but it doesn't work like it does in the movie. So the way amnesia typically is that you could get it from hitting yourself in the head, but you would more forget. Short-term memory would be lost. So like if you got hit in the head, you might forget what happened to you right that day, or like when you actually got hit in the head. Like you could forget those things, or you could have a prolonged amnesia where you can't retain short-term memory for like you're not retaining more information because you're concussed, so you might forget things. Like I know somebody who has like a story of like hitting themselves and getting hit on like the ski slopes and then not remembering how he got back to the hotel or like anything like that.
So you're just a little too drunk.
Right. So it's like blackout, like you just forget, but it can be a more prolonged thing. Now there are stories of people who like, have amnesia and forget the past 30 years of their lives and go on to do like lead a different life and everything. But they say that's more of like a psychosis where you're maybe running from trauma, or you're just like
overboard.
Yeah. Another classic amnesia story. But yeah, so it's not real like this, but it's definitely used.
Well, just let me ask you this, since you are now a doctor of amnesia.
It's true.
If a person hits their head and has a problem remembering, should they go to the hospital?
Well, that would be what I would do.
Right.
If I happened upon someone or someone that I loved hit themselves so hard in the head that they're like, I don't know what my name is.
You wouldn't just go about normal life and, possibly fall in love with them.
I mean, if it was Aidan Quinn, maybe. I mean, if they were really hot and I saw an opening.
Right.
But that would be wrong. So, no. You should definitely take someone to the hospital if they're experiencing any kind of, like, memory loss. I believe that's, like, it's funny. We were watching a baseball game last night where it was the Mets game.
You were?
I was.
Not we.
Not you and I.
Okay.
Me and my family.
I was like,
were watching
do I have amnesia?
My son is a Mets fan, and so we were watching the Mets game, and the pitcher got hit in the head with, like, someone was throwing a ball from first base to third base, so you can imagine how hard you have to throw a ball for that, and it got him, like, right in the temple, and he didn't go down immediately, he took a couple of steps, and then he, like, fell. Yeah, and it was, like... And, like, the guy was kind of, like, it wasn't looking too good for a few minutes, and like it kept going, and he wasn't getting up, and all the paramedics were around, and like you can see like all the guys like on both teams were just like, and it eventually he did get up, but you could see like the doctors and everyone were like talking to him, and they like helped him walk.
Right,
off
and he didn't
thing.
play baseball for the rest of the game, right?
He did not. He did not, and like you could see like his temple was starting to get like a little swollen, but he was down, like not like he was moving, but he was kind of moving a little weird. And there were a few moments, because we weren't watching it on network TV where they would have cut away to broadcasters. We were watching it through Prime, like Amazon Prime, so they don't have any commercials or anything like that. And it was like there was a few moments where I was like, oh no, because I'm watching it with my kids.
That's scary.
And I was like, oh no, like, do I need to turn this off or something like that? But he did get back up, but I said something about like, oh, they're probably doing like the concussion protocols with him. And Percy, my daughter's like, oh, I know about the concussion protocols. They're just like asking him about the date and what his name is. So
yeah, that's what I said. I kind of said in the movie, I was like, thank God we've started to take head trauma more seriously these days.
Absolutely. So yeah, like if someone hits themselves on the head, like they're going to ask you, what's today's date? What's your name? And if you can't answer those questions,
you're going to the hospital.
Right. And they're going to put you in a CAT scan and look at your brain. So it's going to be an issue. But so it definitely doesn't make any sense that Aidan Quinn's just like, oh, you can't remember anything?
Do you want to sleep over at my house?
Yeah, that's a little predatory.
Right.
I mean, we love you, Aidan, but I mean, not your fault. But so I feel like I was trying to kind of like take a step back in watching this to think, what was this movie trying to say? Because it seems like a movie with a message.
Okay.
A little bit. And also just going back to our premise of what are these messages, what are these movies that were out there that we may have been exposed to either through a music video that pretty much had the entire movie in it, or through the actual movie itself. And I feel like it's kind of playing two like tropes of women against each other, like the virgin and the whore.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have Roberta, who, like, at one point the husband says, oh, she doesn't even like sex. And, you know, she's definitely very much like an innocent.
She's buttoned up.
She's very buttoned up in what she wears. She doesn't show a lot of skin. And then you have Madonna, who is just, like, wearing a corset. And, you know, you see everything for the most part. She looks fantastic. Her style is amazing. Like exceptional. Like, if you just want to be schooled in top-notch 80s fashion,
seriously,
watch this movie.
Yeah.
Put it on mute and just watch it.
One of the things I wrote down while we were watching this is the boot game in the 80s was so strong. What happened to boots? What happened to boots, Emily? Why aren't we wearing boots like we used to?
I mean, people still wear boots.
Yeah, but they don't fold them down. They don't cuff a boot with a little sock sticking out. It's so good.
It is good. It should come back. Maybe it will. Good things tend to rise back up again.
But we're not going to get to wear them.
No, we miss the boot of. We miss the boots, I think, altogether.
I want to turn down sparkle boot.
I mean, you can do it. You can. I support you in your turn down sparkle boot. Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll just be one of those, like, you know how sometimes...
Those eclectic old ladies.
Yes, absolutely. Madonna is 65 years old, and I will guarantee you that she will put a sparkle boot on that little granny leg.
But I have something to tell you, Emily. I am not Madonna.
What? What do you mean? But yeah, I feel like, so that's the thing.
Yeah, well, they think because she dresses. So when Roberta starts dressing like Susan, they automatically assume she's a prostitute. Like, there's very much showing that in that time, like, people who were different, people who dressed differently, people who had life on the outskirts were automatically put into this category of...
Well, he thinks she's either a prostitute and because she's a prostitute, he thinks she could be a lesbian.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess from being so obsessed with the Desperately Seeking Susan thing that she's, like, writing about it in her diary.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, there was times when I questioned whether or not she was in love with Susan.
Right. It could have gone in that way, and it may have actually been more interesting if it went in that direction, but it didn't. Right. It was just like, oh, I'm going to live your life.
She's literally following her around and watching her through those, like glasses thing. What are those
binoculars that you rent? Rental binoculars?
What are those called?
Public rental binoculars. Yes, that's what they're called now.
Sure.
But you know what we're talking about. You put a coin in and you can like look at the Statue of Liberty.
PRBs.
As they are commonly known. PRBs, or public rental binoculars. Yeah. Yes. So she puts those on and she's watching her from afar. So it's like she is so buttoned up. So you have the trope of the virgin and the whore, but then you also have this trope of the bored housewife who's not getting any satisfaction in her life, so is taking on someone else's life and fully investing herself in this.
And like the
fantasy.
husband, she's been married to this hot tub and spa salesman for 4 years.
Gary,
the hot tub and spa salesman. She's been married to him for 4 years. They find a book in her desk drawer about like how to have better sex. So the assumption is, and he's having an affair. So
kind of openly,
yeah, like right in front of her at a party, he's like smooching on this lady, and so it's just very like she's not living up. Like I don't know, she doesn't feel like she's good enough.
Right. So, but that's the thing where I feel like this movie gets it a little bit confused because it's like you have those things going on. You have the bored housewife. I also think you could step back and say, okay, Roberta is disempowered, right?
Yes.
Like, it's like her husband's kind of taking advantage of her.
Well, she doesn't seem to work.
She doesn't seem to work. She doesn't really have a life of her own.
Her only big thing to do is like pick up his car radio. And she doesn't even do that.
She doesn't even do that. She's like watching, Julia Childs and making food that her husband doesn't even really want to eat.
Right.
Which I get. But I cook for an entire family that just complains about it all the time. So Roberta, I feel you in that instance. But then you have Madonna, Susan, who is free spirit, totally empowered.
Yeah.
Like she's, she isn't she isn't a whore. She is, like, traveling everywhere. She can't be tethered to anything. She has, I always put it like she has no code. Like, she doesn't seem to, which I think makes her a terrible character. I feel like they had to give her some sort of code. Her code is kind of her boyfriend.
Right.
But then she cheats on that guy. And
but I don't think she cheats on him. I think she capitalizes on the opportunities that are presented to her. And most of those opportunities for her come through sleeping with wealthy men who then she steals from.
Right, and Jim kind of has this, Jim is the boyfriend, kind of has this understanding of her, like, no, he sees her greatness, he sees what's good about her, which I think is cool, and they should have gone a little deeper into that.
And I feel like there was just, like, large swaths of time in the movie where just, like, nothing was happening. Like, it was just, like, the same thing over and over again. I mean, let's talk about Rosanna Arquette as Roberta.
Terrible.
Messy. It was just not well played.
It was hard to watch.
It was. And she's like, like, she was just, like, really, like, it was spastic, and just, like, she just kept falling down, and she kept dropping stuff, and she was just very, very, very messy.
Right, and that's what, with what I'm saying, that these characters, I feel like on paper, if I went somewhere and pitched this movie and said, I want to do something like this, but the characters are the interesting part because I have someone who's a housewife who's really, uninspired by her life, kind of taking the inspiration from this other woman who's this free spirit. Yeah. And I feel like that is interesting. But they don't do these characters right in their portrayal. And that's not Rosanna Arquette's fault.
No.
She's using the material she has. She's being directed to be kind of like, almost like a ditz in what she's
very
doing.
Ditzy.
So you don't have, I want to respect her in the fact that she is looking
seeking
out.
something better.
She's seeking something better. And I want to.
She's desperately seeking something better.
Desperate. She loves that word. She talks about how she loves
romantic.
that word. It is romantic. But I want to like her more and feel like want to be cheering her on a little bit more in this, but they take when they give her amnesia, now they've taken the power away from her. If she had made a choice to say, you know what, I need some adventure in my life.
Yeah.
Susan would capitalize on this opportunity.
Yeah.
I have an opportunity. I'm going to capitalize on that opportunity. I'm going to, because I'm inspired by this free spirit woman.
Let me live my life.
But they don't do that. They give her amnesia, and it's not a choice that she's making. It's the fact that she has a medical condition that no one is looking into.
Right. And she smooches that guy when she has amnesia, but then she gets her memory back because she hits her head again. And that's when they do have sex. So that's okay. But he still thinks she's Susan.
Even when she's fully telling him, no, I'm a housewife.
Yeah, I'm married. I'm married to this guy. And my name's Roberta.
He's like, oh, Susan.
You're so silly.
Yeah, so I think, again, it's a movie that's trying to say something, trying to do a lot, but it doesn't. Does it look great? Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the whole way. I loved just the colors in it, the way it captures kind of a city club life thing. It's a little bit gritty, but it's also got real street fashion in it.
Like Aidan Quinn's character, at one point he's wearing like a boxy shouldered tank top with suspenders and
his pants. Yeah. The style in this is unbeatable. And I even loved in Roberta's real life, her house is, it's obviously they're yuppie kind of a culture where they've got all the, the wallpaper. The wallpaper matches the bedspread.
Amazing.
And
it's pink and it's just good.
They have a coffee table that has a snack bar built into it.
Okay, this is what I'm bringing back. The snack bar coffee table. Why aren't we still doing this?
It had a glass lid that went on top.
So your snacks don't get stale. They had pretzels. They had a little candy in there.
It reminded me of when you go to get a Fixins bar.
Yeah.
It had, so if you make a sundae somewhere and they have Fixins, it was like that where it had candy.
And it had 3 sections for different types of snacks, and then you could just pop the lid off and you lay on the couch and you just eat the snacks.
I like that a lot. Yeah, so I mean, watch this movie for that, but don't watch it expecting it to rule your world.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was reading about it, like I said, I had never seen it before, and I was reading about it and people were like, oh, it still holds up and it's really great for women, and I understand that, that there were 2 female leads, which is great. Female writer, director, producer, also great. But
they also say one of the big things that they look at in cinema where it's actually is just having women in those roles, awesome.
Right.
But there really weren't many scenes in this movie where you had 2 women talking to each other. Even Roberta and Susan don't even meet each other to the end, and they really don't converse very much. It's they have one scene together and they don't really talk to each other. Most of the scenes are women and men talking to each other. So in order to strengthen it a bit, I think they needed to have more, women and women talking. They do have some Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah, she's great in this movie.
Oh my gosh, she looks amazing, and she's just funny and awesome as per usual. So love her.
Stephen Wright plays a dentist.
Stephen Wright also great in this movie.
It made me wonder about him. Was there a time where he was seeking out being a serious, an actor, actor?
I feel all those comedians, it's that's the model. That's how you make money. It's you got to do a little this. Yeah, you have an agent that's just hey, you can be in this movie. We got this film role for you and this. Right. And yeah,
he really doesn't talk that much. Just at one point, he's just she looks amazing.
He's always fun. It's just Stephen Wright is funny.
Yeah, very dry.
On his own. But I mean, I feel it was. I don't know. It just wasn't what I remembered it to be.
It did kind of show the dynamic of how women were treated in that time, because there's that one point where Roberta is actively running for her life. She thinks someone's trying to chase her, kill her, and she's like, you gotta help me, and she stumbles into this room, and the guy's like, oh yeah, I'll help you, baby. He's real lecherous about it, and it's just there's no safety.
It's very true. Yeah, I mean, I feel that was certainly a part of this.
Yes.
And all of these, just showing these women are, so connected to whoever they're with as well.
Yes.
Because even the Roberta character, she does make a decision at the end of this to leave that life. She's not going to be, even though she knows she's not Susan anymore because she's cured of her amnesia, she knows that she doesn't want to go back to where she was before. She's not going back with Gary. and she's going to stay in the city. But what she does is she goes immediately to Aidan Quinn and is like, oh, I've decided to be with you. So it's not about her.
Right.
It's about, oh, I'm gonna leave this guy and I'm gonna go with this guy.
There's no independence.
No.
It's just the reliance on a new dude.
Right, and they even say about the Susan character, her boyfriend's like, no, I think she's ready to settle down.
Yeah.
So still, it's like that's
that's the goal, is trying to bring her out of this wild life to settle down.
Right, and he's saying, no, she wants to do this. And it's kind of implied in the end that maybe she does, because the two of them are together.
Yeah.
So
and they're all like happy and watching a movie together, like a normal couple.
Yeah, like so he is going to tame her from this life because that's what she wants too, because that's what every woman wants, is just to be with the man who's going to complete them. So while Gary could not be the person who completed Roberta, Aidan Quinn certainly can be, or Des, as he's called. Oh, Des. Love you with those eyes.
Yeah.
A few other things that because this movie did have some pretty long stretches of boringness, so did some Googling for sure. And in addition to becoming a doctor of amnesia, also the guy who plays her boyfriend, Jim. He was in The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay.
He's one of the, like, freaks.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of one of the more famous ones in that. So he's been in all those The Hills Have Eyes thing, which I thought was...
interesting.
I thought was very interesting. I also learned that jacket, that's a big part of this. Amazing jacket.
Yeah.
That they say, oh, Jimi Hendrix owned this jacket.
But then the guy, when he resells it, he says Elvis Presley owned it.
Right.
It's because they're the same.
They're the same, right. But that jacket recently, and when I'm saying recently, I mean like sometime in the 2000s, over the past 20 years.
Sure.
Sold at auction. Guess how much money?
Well, I just saw your notes.
Oh, okay.
$225,000.
$225,000 for that jacket.
I mean, it's a good jacket. I mean, I would want to wear it, though.
Oh, yeah. I would want to wear
and
it,
the earrings, too. The earrings that they were going out. Oh, what was funny to me about the earrings, too, is like every time they showed the earrings, it would be like, ting! Like you would see like the little glare off of the earring, which I was just like, that's corny.
Right. The other thing was, so there's a moment in this film where Susan, Madonna character, is going into an office building. She's going into a newspaper building to put another classified ad out there. Because that's how people talk to each other back in the day before the internet existed or text messaging. You had to actually put a classified ad in the paper.
Tweets in print.
Right. So she's going in that office, and there's a moment before she walks in where you see these guys hanging out front, and they're all dressed the same, and they're triplets standing together. So those triplets are very famous.
Okay.
They were all separated at birth.
Okay.
And didn't somehow through it's a very interesting thing to look into.
Do they have a documentary?
They do. And if they don't all have the same last name, so I can't say the so-and-so triplets, but if you look up triplets separated at birth, this is about them. So it was actually done on purpose that these triplets were born, and it's like one of those evil agency things you hear where they all got sent to different families just to see, well, is it nature or nurture?
Their parents agreed to this?
Well, the parents just wanted to adopt. The parents were just families who wanted to.
No, but somebody birthed those babies.
I think they were just going to be given up for adoption, or maybe it's like even more nefarious than that. I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting thing where they all got put with different families, and through happenstance, like they ended up, like one guy was in the newspaper for something, and the other guy, like a friend of his, saw this guy and was like, oh my God, it's you. And they ended up, so first two of them found each other.
Right.
And then they somehow found
the
third one, because I think maybe there was like a newspaper story. I don't know, but it's a really crazy thing. So the three of them ended up, once they met each other, they were instantly like, oh my gosh. And they figured out all these things that were going on with how this all happened. And then they saw that, like, I guess that it's interesting in the sense of like the nature versus nurture thing. They weren't all exactly alike, and one of them ended up committing suicide later in life. Yeah, so
I saw that. It's funny because when I was reading about this movie, they mentioned about how the director saw these three triplets on the street. Like, it's not that they were cast for the movie. She saw them on the street and put them in the movie just because she thought it was interesting.
Right.
But in my mind, I pictured like little kid triplets. So when I saw that they were 3 grown men, I was like, oh, that's even weirder.
Yeah, well, they didn't meet each other until they were grown men, and they ended up like they got like a certain level of fame, and they owned like a pizzeria or restaurant in New York City, and like they ended up actually being like bros with each other, but you know,
literally,
I mean, they are bros. But I thought that was a cool thing in this movie. Cool. But I don't know. Other than that.
Yeah, meh. I'm sad because, so if you're going to watch something, watch the video.
Watch the video because the song's great.
It's a good song.
And
it is in the movie. I know we kind of said we weren't sure if it was in the movie. It is in the movie. There's a part where Madonna's dancing to her own song.
Sure.
Presumably.
Yeah. But, you know, if I made a bop like that, I'd dance to it. I'd be like, my song is good. Right. Get into the groove. This is great.
Yeah.
So you don't need to watch this. Rosanna Arquette, we love you.
Yeah.
And the Arquettes are very, like, she's very interesting as well. Like, Rosanna Arquette was a very cool person.
Yeah.
Where she, they say that the song In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel is based on her. Because
Not Aidan Quinn?
No, because she dated Peter Gabriel for a long time.
Okay.
And
yeah, they're a famous family.
And they also, the song Rosanna, like, she dated that guy. And they say that it's not. Apparently it's like an amalgamation of a bunch of women that's about, but it is her name.
Okay.
So, but very cool. We love you. But this role, man, I know you won an award for this, Rosanna, but or Roseanne. But
I think she was nominated. I don't know that she won.
She won a BAFTA for it,
and I just don't get it. Like,
it's not good.
No, it's not good.
It's not good. And Madonna's not good. Like, Madonna, you could tell, is not a very experienced actress in this. Like, I don't think she's that great. She looks great, but the acting not so great.
Right.
So yeah, like you can skip this one, but don't skip the video.
Don't skip the video.
No.
All right, so now we're going to get into what has become a very controversial part of our programming.
Oh, do I have to talk about it?
You do.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
All right, so we're about to do 6 Degrees of Spader, which, as our loyal listeners know, is when we connect the movies we watch to the man, the myth, the legend, James Spader, because we love him so much. And in the last episode, which was my pick, which was The Peanut Butter Solution, I connected the one actor to James Spader, and as through one of the moves in there was connecting James Marsden to someone,
Leslie Ann
Warren, and I did that because they both appeared on episodes of Touched by an Angel. So I've had my brother-in-law, and then you also thought it was weak, apparently. Just disagree with the fact that you can connect through that. They should have been on the same episode.
Yes.
So my initial reaction was, oh, you're right, I should go back and look. But I'm here to defend it.
Oh, no.
I'm going to defend it. Because, you know, it's not like we mandate that people are in the same scenes with each other.
No, but at the same time, like, there has to be some sort of, like, very direct connection to the person. Like, Leslie and Warren may have never met James Marsden. They may have never even crossed paths.
But that's the same with a lot of these ones. Like, if they're in different scenes or something, they may not meet each other.
I had a real one this week.
So. Well, I'm just going to say, I stand by it. I stand by it. And if you listen to that episode, you'll also know that a lot of the reason I want to do it is because I was desperate to make sure that James Marsden...
You were desperately seeking a connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So stand by, but go ahead.
Okay, let me do my real one then.
All right.
Okay, so we've got a direct connect. Yeah. And Miss Rosanna Arquette was in a 1996 movie with James Spader.
What movie?
This movie was called Crash. Not...
No, I know. I think I know the one you're talking about.
Directed by David Cronenberg.
Oh, yeah.
And it's rated NC-17.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, baby.
But it was controversial because it had numerous explicit sex scenes.
Yeah, it did. But weird sex.
Yeah, I've heard it's a real weird movie. Like, as soon as it came up, like, it was like, what's so controversial about this movie? Blah, blah, blah. And they, like, refer to it as Crash 1996 because there was that other movie, Crash, later on that, like, won Academy Awards and stuff like that. And people don't want to get those two confused.
No.
So.
Yeah, that movie, you should definitely watch it. It's a weird movie, and David Cronenberg's a really great director. Like, he's awesome, and this movie kind of is. It's very, very weird.
Do you remember James Spader being in it?
Yeah, it's a very sexy movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
That's what I'm saying. You should probably watch the movie. It's pretty great. But yay.
Yeah,
so there we go.
Okay.
We did it.
Yay.
Another episode in, I was going to say in the can. That's terrible.
That's the bathroom.
So thank you. We thank you guys for listening and supporting this podcast. We love to hear from you guys. We love your comments. We love your suggestions. We love everything about you. And what I do have an ask for all of our listeners, please just take a second out of your day and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. It really does make a difference. And if you're listening to this and you like this and you're not subscribed to this podcast, you're missing out, friends. So definitely subscribe. And that's all I really wanted to say.
You can follow us on TikTok at Confidently Contro. You can also follow us on Instagram at Confidently Controversial.
We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube, where people say we're hilarious.
People do say we're hilarious on YouTube. So guys,
don't miss out.
Don't miss out. So thank you guys so much for listening. And, as we like to say, be confident.
Yeah, and apparently we're supposed to be a little bit controversial, but like not that much. So, you do you, babe.
You do you. All right. We love you guys.
Bye.
Confidently controversial. Confidently